Welcome again to another episode of Hometown Podcast, where we learn beyond what we're taught and we know beyond what we hear. Hold on. Today, our special guest is Randa Dennis.
Yes, sir.
And Randa, kind of jumping through to a first question. How long have you been with the bank?
In November was the beginning of my 19th year.
19th year. I've mentioned several times that we have a pretty big tenure. Our average tenure is like 13 years. And so, of course, the bank's 22 years old. So I think that's pretty good. I mean,
yes,
I think that's the kind of thing
absolutely.
we're kind of proud of, but I keep rolling across these 15, 16, 17-year folks, and everything to me is 5 to 6 years ago.
Right.
And it's 15 years ago.
And it feels like yesterday. It really does. To me, it kind of does. It feels a long time ago, but then it also feels just like a moment in time.
Yeah.
It does.
Gosh. So, Randa, where did you start in the bank?
I started on the teller line. I had worked at Community Bank, which was then Superior Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hired and I started, I think, on like a Tuesday. And then I was on the teller line. On Friday, they're like, "You've got this." And I had never experienced a Friday at Hometown Bank. And people lined to the door. I had no clue what I was walking into. But they're like, cash in, cash out. You're good.
Yeah.
So
that's all we care about. Make sure the cash is right.
I could say hello, welcome to Hometown Bank. So they were good with me.
Remind me, did you start in Indiana before we opened in Snead?
Yes, I did. Snead was it was a vision at that time. And that was when I was hired, they're like, we plan on opening a branch in Snead, which is where my heart is. I love the town of Snead. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that just leads us right into that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell us more about, where you're from, where you went to high school, what kind of got you here to Hometown
What kind of got me here? I grew up, I say, in Snead. I actually, the first home that I lived in, we lived in Hendricks, over near Royal. But then we moved, my mother grew up behind what used to be the Red Barn restaurant in between Snead and Brooksville Crossroads. And that's where we moved to around the time I was 10. And that's where I still live.
Is that right?
I do. I sure do.
Same home or just the general area?
They built a home there near where my mother grew up. And then since my dad passed away a few years ago, we now bought that house and live in that house.
Yeah. Well, that's so.
And I love it. We call it Burtram Mountain, and my dad didn't grow up there. He was the Burtram, and he didn't grow up there, but I live there. My sister lives down the road. My daughter and her husband now live next door. I have a cousin that lives down the road. So.
You got a commune, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We do. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah. Probably start a church.
Maybe. Yes.
6 or 8 people there would be
absolutely
family church.
Yes.
Yeah. That's okay. So what about kids?
Kids. I have 3. My oldest is Sterling. She is married. She's 20 years old. I have my first grandbaby, Drennan.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's wonderful. And then Lila is 14. Connor is 12. They go to Susan Moore. And then my husband, Mark.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, what about Mark? Did you just trip across him in the classifieds or what?
Well, I knew him growing up. My grandparents knew his grandparents. But we actually re-met in the banking world. Banking brought us together. He worked for a community bank. He ran the work on the big old machines overnight. He was third shift, but every once in a while he'd have to come by. Those were back in the days where you would curry your work back and forth. Every once in a while they'd send him to a branch to do something or get something. And
yeah, I read an article the other day that 1 in 3 of your relationships are work related in some form or fashion. And I guess that's a good example of how many husbands, how many wives came through work in some form.
That's right.
So how long did you work at Community Bank?
I worked there 6 years.
Okay.
I went to school at Susan Moore, loved school and high school, all about it. And then I went to school at Sanford and was there for 2 years. Didn't love it. Didn't like everything. I just wanted to come back home. I really did.
Right.
And so I came back home and got a job. And I thought, I'm just tired of school right now, and went to work there.
Mm-hmm.
And then met Mark and got married, and the rest is history. I've worked ever since
That's
then.
where you're most comfortable.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And so you started to work for Hometown in 2006?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes. Yeah. Sterling was a year old. She was. And so,
well, then you've had a set of experiences with Hometown.
I have.
Got any that you can remember that were really kind of off the chart? We've had plenty, I know, but
we have had plenty.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I still talk about this. I still remember the day of the tornadoes.
Yeah, I'm afraid I do too.
I do remember that. I give Danny a hard time about that. I do.
And hey, rightfully so.
No.
I deserve it.
No,
okay?
but you weren't even in town that day, I don't think.
No,
you were in Alabama. We
were in Birmingham.
Yeah, but you weren't even in town. But that was a crazy day. But we got to work and had no power and never got power back for a day or so, a day or two. It was, and we know that was a crazy day for everybody. But we were all about we are still all about the customers. But we were pushing that drawer out. If somebody come through, we had a mechanical little handle. We push it out.
It was very
pull
heavy.
It back in. Yes. Yeah.
Well, what happened, a little background on that, was Angela, who was working at the bank at the time, Patty, and I were at a bond school in Birmingham. And it was at Ross Bridge. And so actually the tornado that came through that hit Cava Heights went right over the top of the building. And so it pulled the door open on my patio. Dark. I didn't think anything about it. Went back to bed and got up, and we were having breakfast, and people started. The cell service was down too. So
yes,
and there wasn't a whole lot of people talking about what was going on. And what happened was the building they were running a generator, so they didn't have any power, but we didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So we just thought everything was,
it's all right.
A little storm, we didn't have any information whatsoever. And then I get in the car to come home. We decided we're not going to do that day's schedule. We're just going to get back to the bank. Well, I get on the 459 and it's a parking lot. And I said, holy mackerel, well, there must have been a real storm that came through here, So that's kind of the way that all played out that day. And then as like a lot of people, because the sun came out, we thought, well, this is it.
We thought it was great.
It came early.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be bad. And, then when I heard that the power was out.
I still remember Denny came. They were still living in Arab at the time. And he came. He's like, I'm checking on everybody. He made his rounds. He come through Snead and he checked on us. And then I think he had a hard time getting there.
Yeah.
I'd gotten a call that morning. I was supposed to open. And of course, my mother called, but you got to understand.
Right.
She is scared. I say scared. She is very weather aware.
Sure.
She is very weather aware. So I didn't know if it was an exaggeration or not. It was like tornadoes coming, getting y'all safe place, all of this. And I think I only had Sterling then. Me and her got in the hall. Mark's like, we're fine. He's staying in bed.
He's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy. And so we go get in the hall, and I'm thinking, I'm supposed to open the bank at 7, and it was like 6:15. And then I get a call from my sister, and she says, hey, I know sometimes we don't take Mom super serious, but hey, it's really scary over here. Like, I just saw trees fall down outside. Like, that's what she said. And she was like, and somebody just said the red barns got down, And I was like, okay. And so we got in our safe place. I was like, I need to call Chris. Chris was my direct contact there.
Right.
We were both in Snead together. And I called him and I said, what do I do if I can't get to the bank on time to open? And he's like, huh? And I was like, well, this weather. And he was like, what weather? And I'm like, we're under a tornado warning. It's coming your way. And it did. It come right over our, well, it was horrible. He was like, oh my goodness. But he was off that day.
Oh,
he was off. So he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't really.
There was just such a disconnect that morning.
Yeah. It was weird.
Those storms knocked everything out. We just, there was so much of that. My parents lost power and they came to my house. But it was one of those days that you kind of mark down and you'll always remember.
Yeah, that's what I'll tell my kids. Well, I remember the day.
Yeah. Well, the three of us, we didn't understand what had happened.
Yeah.
Until we got out on the interstate. And then when, you saw this damage where it went through Cobb Heights and all that kind of stuff and all these trees down.
Well, you couldn't really watch TV.
Right. That was
because you didn't have power unless you had a Kathy Burtram, which is my mother, that was texting, calling every time she heard something.
Believe it or not, that will not repeat itself because as far as the drive-through, because we have power, we have generators.
We have generators now. We sure do.
Each and every location that we have, and that's one of the main reasons we do is because we lost power that day.
I still remember all the battery packs were dying, and it was beeping all day long. That sticks out in my mind more than anything. It was like, beep. I mean, it was like, if I hear this beeping one more time. But it was also a day like you look back, and I still remember the town of Snead. The pharmacy, they had like little radios. They're like, we've got battery powered radios if you need a radio. And then everything kind of started closing down around us. And Steve Cloudis, he come up to the drive-thru and knocked on the window. And he's like, hey, we're going home. Just wanted to let y'all know. Steve, he's like, I just wanted to let y'all know we're going home because Steve doesn't go home for anything. No, he never.
If Steve's going home, it's time to go home.
Yeah, and I think that's when I called Patty. I was like, hey, even Snead Ag's shut down. Steve said he's going home.
Well,
so.
Patty's like me. She came from the dark that morning, so she didn't really understand. And then, of course, we had a little different attitude about being open, but that's changed. And part of that changed that,
But it's crazy. That day changed the way we handle things in some ways. COVID changed. Hey, that's another experience I've been through with the bank that I still don't know how we did it. And I hope we never have to do it again, but we did it.
We did it.
And that's any kind of challenge that comes now, we'll talk about it and we're like, look what we did during COVID. We can do this,
Yeah, I think we've talked about this on this podcast before, but there's pre-COVID, post-COVID. That's the way things will be kind of discussed going forward. Well, what about, you've mentioned community bank, but what about before that? Did you work before, maybe high school or?
I did some babysitting jobs, and then my first official job was Camp Woodman. I worked a summer at Camp Woodman. I did. It was
well, that's enlightening.
Fun. Yes.
Yeah. Kids.
Lots of kids. Yes. And it was 4 weeks. Girls would work the girls. They used to split them up, girls and boys. And so it was 4 weeks, and we had cabins, and we had running water and stuff like that. But it was still kind of
it was camp.
It was camp. And I don't know what, I'm not Miss Outdoorsy. I'm not athletic. I don't know why I really thought I could do it, but I gave it, I wanted to be with my friends, and it was a good time. So,
well, I always tell people, you're a product of all your experiences. So that was one of them.
It was a good one.
And, you probably used it. Probably use it more than you think.
I did. And like I said, I did. I had a good time. So,
yeah. Well, you have 2 kids still in school.
Still in school at Susan Moore.
So that's probably time consuming. That's kind of the thing that's taken most of what you're doing now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're both in sports, and Connor also does band in sports. And so it's all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
What type of sports do they play?
Lila does basketball and softball, and Connor does basketball and baseball.
Yeah.
So he ended junior high ball the beginning of December. Susan Moore was the county champs, just saying.
Congratulations.
And so, and then we have another lady here that her son was on that team, but that works at the bank. But Connor didn't play that much, but he was still a part of the team. His part mattered. I told him, I said, hey, they have to have people to practice against. That's your part. That's still a very important part. And so, but he went from band to that, and then they started baseball this week. So started practice.
That's the way it is now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is something unique about Hometown Bank as far as a place to work?
I think this right here is unique about Hometown Bank. I've always thought that it was very unique that we have the bank president that owns the bank, that started the bank, that we're in close contact with. That's just, I don't think that happens in a lot of places. And I think by us getting to know you, that helps us know what's expected out of us. And it just helps us know the whole heart of Hometown Bank.
Well, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, qualify that. I don't own all of the bank. I just have I have a little bit of ownership. Shareholders own most of it, but it would be nice if I was in that position, but I'm not. But I do appreciate the fond words and
I think I've said this too. One of my absolute favorite things about Hometown Bank is that I thought I wanted to be a school teacher. That was kind of my goal and that's when I got into school and it started getting into the education part. I was like, I don't know that I can, that's my gift to teach and to be with children all day. But when I eventually got to Hometown Bank, I always wanted to be back at my school. I wanted to be at Susan Moore and be in my community. And I've always said Hometown Bank allowed me to do that in a different way and a way that I love. I still get to be very involved at the school. It thrills me when they come and say, hey, would the bank feed us, a meal for a team or do this? And I know the answer is yes, because we're so involved in the schools. That's one of my absolute favorite things.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we pride ourselves on is our investment in our communities, not so much our charitable giving, which we do, but we really like the idea that we're investing in something that's going to continue to help.
Absolutely.
And that's the key. So it's not a perpetual, they're back again for $100 or whatever, but they're going to earn their own $100 and we've enabled them to do it. That to me is a real good one. Well, one final question, and thanks for your time, by the way, because I know it's very valuable. Is what are you into right now? Are you got a hobby or something you're engaging in, and what is it you do on your downtime?
Downtime. My kids would say, you take naps, you sleep, I love to read. I enjoy reading, and I just read, I like romance novels, but I read The Housemaid. I had a friend that was like, I want to go see the movie, you've got to read it, and Grace here at the bank, she had the book, she gave it to me, and so I read that, and I really enjoyed it, so I do. I love to read. We'll see what I'll read next. I'm scaredy cat, so these that are really,
nail
intense nail biters. Sometimes I scare myself. So,
I don't think there's any better gift than reading. I mean, that's a terrific way to escape a little bit and get in another world almost.
Denny loved to read. I remember when y'all got him a Kindle for Christmas or something one year, and he said, you're going to have to show me how to work this thing. I said, Denny, it's wonderful. I said, you don't have to go to Walmart and get a book, because I love that I can just go shopping and find my books. And he did. He liked it.
He wore that thing out. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Randa, and, look forward to another 19 years.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we'll see you in the kitchen.
Oh, yes. We'll be there soon. Be there real soon.
Thanks again for joining in on a Hometown Bank podcast, and we'll see you next time.